So I've been a journalist for a long time, and I basically was running up against this question that I had, which is how do I know that my stories are relevant and valuable to the public before I do all the work? And so I've been working on the last 5 years developing a model where I can know before I report whether or not these stories are valuable, and it really starts with a different mindset of who the audience is and how I can relate to them as a reporter. So instead of thinking of them as a consumer or piece of data or a dollar sign in some way, shape, or form, it's about thinking of them as a partner and starting with their information needs rather than with my assumptions as to what they might need. So how do you do that? You can do it in a number of different ways. We've developed at Hearken a whole system and a workflow of making it easy to go into your normal everyday workflow. So a quick example would be, we have a technology that supports this idea of putting the audience first, and there's a few different ways the audience can interact with the newsroom while they're in the process of making a story. So at the pitch phase, where assignments or where like ideas come about and you decide what to report on, the public can ask questions, and so they can use our technology to put on their site and collect questions that the audience might have about topics that they cover, about breaking news stories, about all manner of things. And then at the assignment phase, newsrooms can use our tech to collect votes on which stories the public would most like the newsroom to do. And then at the reporting phase, the newsroom can use this tool we just released called Open Notebook, showing their work of how they're getting the information for the story and allowing the public to follow along and also contribute. So there's a few different points before publication where the audience can engage and shape the story that results. So it's hard to explain. The way I think about it is if I think I use a lot of food metaphors because food is very easy and universal. So if you think about it, what the newsroom is doing is they're putting out like two options. So do you want the Donald Trump story, or do you want the unsexy story about an infrastructure problem? And when you put those two things next to each other, you can assume from the metrics, if everyone clicks on the Donald Trump story, well, they must want more Donald Trump. Well, you're only offering them two options. You're not actually offering them stuff that might be even more relevant to them because you don't even know what you're missing, because you've just put out limited options. So with our model, it's about creating those individual insights, things that aren't trending, things that are universal and relevant to people, but like aren't showing up on all of the leaderboards and things, but that end up becoming very popular stories. So it's kind of before the trending happens. I think so. I mean, I think the problem that we still face is just the revenue models of advertisement and click-based monetization. So when your whole model is based on getting the most number of clicks, you're going to do a lot of horrible things that actually undermine the quality of your journalism in order to try and make money. So I think until people start to move away from the advertising model in the way that they have been, that's just about pure volume, we're going to be faced with this problem of quality over quantity. Yeah, I mean, I think micropayment strategy is one way to go about it. I think the most compelling thing to do is to actually look at journalism as a service and think about how can you be the most valuable and service-oriented that you can. And then when you ask people for money, whether that's with micropayments or subscriptions or asking them to subscribe to a newsletter, whatever it is, you will have a value proposition to them to not just say, hey, we put out a lot of reporting that you might like. Instead, they say, we serve you, we listen to you, we actually create the things that you need, now give us money, which I think is a much more compelling argument than just we make things and you might click on them every so often.